Welcome back to Sunrise. I'm Mark Oppold. Cattlemen are always striving to be good stewards of the environment while raising good quality beef, the kind of cattle that you've come to expect every sale here at Superior Livestock. And with that in mind, we welcome two guests on our program this morning. Abram Babcock from Adams Land and Cattle in Broken Bow, Nebraska, and Chad Martin, Vice President, Cattle Procurement with Tyson Foods. Gentlemen, welcome to our program this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chad, I'm going to start with you. There's a new term we're hearing a lot more about from here, brazen beef. Let's talk about brazen beef. Why did Tyson Foods, what is it, and why did Tyson Foods create the brand?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. We're very excited to have launched this brand. And just to give you a little background behind it to answer the question is that, this is the first USDA approved program that has a 10% greenhouse gas reduction associated with it. And that goes all the way from the ranch to the endpoint to the customer. And in doing that, we've been able to help tell the story of what our cattlemen and farmers are doing across this great nation. And ultimately, from our perspective, it's not only to be able to meet stated goals from greenhouse gas reduction, but also for our customers to be able to meet their goals. And so we tell the story that our cattlemen and farmers are doing and the great work that they're doing today. We do it through a verified program with a stated goal of 10% greenhouse gas reduction, and then we're able to offer it to the consumers.
Very good. Wow. The info mentions climate smart beef. Define climate smart beef for Tyson and your goals, Chad.
Yeah, we are always striving for a greater sustainability within this industry. And so you take this brand and the greenhouse gas accounting framework. And so we built the calculator to be able to estimate the emissions within the value chain and related reductions that come from that. And that becomes a key part of our journey. And so as we try to do our part to help build a more resilient supply chain or beef supply chain, we're ultimately trying to reach our goals of net zero emissions by 2050.
Very good. Well, let's head out to Broken Bow, Nebraska. Abram Babcock there. Talk about Adams Land and Cattle involvement in this program.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, so Adams Land and Cattle, today is acting as a climate smart beef supply partner for Tyson. So right now we're working with Tyson on building a supply chain where we can more accurately estimate our GHG emissions from cattle for the cattle from pasture all the way through the feedlot and ultimately the packing plant.
And by the way, Adams Land and Cattle will be buying cattle at all the Superior auctions here through the summer, those big sales.
You bet. We're actively buying cattle in the video auction for sure in Superior.
Very good. Abram, stay with you. Why should a producer maybe watching this morning, they say, well, why should I participate in this program? What would you say?
Yeah, you bet. I think it is the future of the industry. We have an opportunity to get ahead and be able to quantify some of these things that ultimately the consumers are starting to ask questions on. So, while many consumers will continue to buy conventionally raised and produced beef, there's a growing number of people and consumers that are willing to pay a premium to eat beef and other foods that have a reduced GHG claim on them. So for the producer, Tyson's incentivizing producers to adopt land stewardship practice that, quite frankly, a lot of producers are already doing. And so just continuously trying to tell that story, like Chad mentioned, and demonstrate that the beef industry is sustainable and we're reducing the GHG emissions.
Chad, and I know hopefully we've piqued some interest here. What do producers have to do to participate?
Yeah. So first of all, producers need to be CARE certified. That was formerly Beef Care. And so that's what should ring a bell with the producer community out there. And then with that, so you enroll in a verified program. And so that's the way that we are able to document the program and processes that producers have in place that Abram mentioned just a minute ago. It's because of those practices that we're able to verify that you're able to then calculate the greenhouse gas reduction. The second part of this, Mark, is really key, and the producer has to agree to not sell their carbon rights, okay, for the grazing land or other programs, any organization or entity. And so those carbon rights travel with the animals as they go throughout the supply chain to the very end, to the final customer. Mm-hmm. They must be open to sharing the operational data, volume, practices implemented, number of acres, head management plan, pasture rotation, overseeding, feed inputs, water management, all those key practices that we're referring to. And sharing that operational data allows us to then pull that into the calculator to be able to determine the reduction. And then lastly, they must be willing to participate in on-farm audits. That's conducted by Where Food Comes From, or IMI Global, as part of the overall care program. And so when producers do that, they're able to then participate in this. And then I want to say that there's a dual value incentive here for them. One is that there is data associated with how these animals perform throughout the production cycle after they leave the ranch, go through the feed yard and into the plant, because we individually verify each carcass at the final point at the hot scale. And so that data flows back, becomes very valuable all the way from the plant data through Abram and the feeding data, to be able to help them make decisions for future genetics and breeding decisions, to be able to help their operation improve. Second part of that is just from a financial standpoint. As the market continues to develop, we will continue to assess premiums for each of these animals as they come through the supply chain.
Very good. Over to you, Abram. All that Chad has just discussed, you're already participating in that. I want to get your take.
Yeah, no, you bet. The only thing I'd really add on to what Chad had to say is I would encourage, producers that are going to be marketing cattle on Superior this summer, to reach out to their representative from where food comes from and get certified, so because we will be active in those markets procuring cattle this summer.
Final question, back to you, Chad. How does it all the progress measured? You kind of touched on that, but let's go through that again.
Yeah, so we've already built the supply chain, as Abram just mentioned, and we've been harvesting animals through this, and we're able to then see what the true reductions are for the practices they're in place. We want to continue to expand upon that now that the brand has officially launched, and continue to grow numbers and be able to continue to tell this story again from the very beginning of what's happening at our farms and ranches. I grew up in production agriculture myself, all the way back to a family cow-calf operation. It's very important for us to be able to think about progress in this, as we're able to look at all the data generated from the supply chain and continue to grow it, and then feel the need of the customers and consumers out there that are telling us that this product is something that they desire and is in demand.
Well, thank you both for being with us this morning. Chad Martin, Tyson Foods, Abram Babcock, Adams Land and Cattle. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
You'll be hearing more about this at all the summer sales and more here at Superior Livestock. So stay tuned for that. And stay tuned to sell some cattle today. More Sunrise coming up.